Tottenham are through to the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. A relatively comfortable 3-0 win over Doncaster at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Wednesday night. A good few points to take away from the game, because I want to start off this video by saying I know that Tottenham didn't play great. I know that there was maybe a little bit of concerning passages of plays and maybe the way some of the players approached the game. But at the end of the day, Tottenham won 3-0. We beat a team that we never really needed to get out of third gear to beat, and we are into the fourth round, albeit with a very difficult trip to Newcastle, the holders, in the next round. But I want to talk about the Doncaster game. I want to talk about what I thought was good, what I thought was bad, and kind of what we learned over the 90 minutes that they came to town for. And by the way, shout out to the Doncaster fans. I think they had 5,000 or 6,000 fans there. They took up a lot of that away end and an extended amount as well, and they were very noisy throughout. To be fair to them, it definitely outsung us. The atmosphere wasn't great at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is understandable considering the stadium wasn't very full. It was a Wednesday night. It's against a team 2 divisions below us, so hopefully Tottenham can learn from that and take a lesson and lower the ticket prices for games like that. No one should be paying £30 to watch Tottenham versus Doncaster in the third round of the Carabao Cup. Come on, Tottenham, sort your act out. But yes, Tottenham 3, Doncaster 0. And I actually think Doncaster played the better football over the 90 minutes, which is crazy to say against a Premier League team. When you look at the starting lineup we had out there and the players that did feature in this game, you know, we still had Xavi Simons started. We still had in midfield Rodrigo Bentancur, Archie Gray played, Matthias Tell, Wilson Odobert, Brennan Johnson. These are established internationals for their countries, and they play at a high level. And Doncaster Rovers, who were promoted from League 2 last season, they're only just back in League 1. I think they played really well. Their head coach said in their press conference before the game that we like to play a certain way and we're not going to deviate from that. And fair play, because they just absolutely didn't. They played their football. They played it well. And there were occasions where they tore Tottenham apart. I remember one notable save that Antonin Kinski had to make and go on. What a save it was, by the way, in the second half, where I think their captain, O'Reilly or O'Brien, his last name slips my mind, but he hit like a volley and it was headed into the bottom corner, and Kinski just gets fingertips to it and pushed it onto the post. And that was at 2-0 up. And if that had gone in, the game could have taken a very different turn. I mean, yes, we squandered chances, and we could have had 5, 6, 7, or however many. You know, it was a very off night for Matthias Tell in front of goal. We just weren't very clinical with our chances. And like I say, the players didn't look like they were that bothered about the game. But nonetheless, we score that first goal, which is an overhead kick from João Paulinho, by the way. What a signing he has been. I mean, it's a fitting place to start when talking about players and what we've learned. We've learned that João Paulinho has been one of the signings of the summer. Absolute bargain if we activate a permanent deal for him for about, 24 million quid next summer, because he's been fantastic. And I know he's 30 years old, but as long as he can play at the level he's playing at, that's absolutely fine with me. We've not had his type of profile in the squad for a little while. He loves to tackle. He loves to just be that bullish guy on the pitch who is going to win the ball back for his team. And he did it from centre-back against Doncaster as well, by the way. We saw the lineups, and me and my friend were talking about it. I said, I saw the lineup and I thought, is João Paulinho playing in centre-back? Because we saw Archie Gray, and I think a lot of people assumed Archie Gray would play centre-back because we've seen him do that so often under Ange Postecoglou last season. But I thought João Paulinho is way more suited to that centre-back role than Archie Gray is. And also, I don't see why we would play a Rodrigo Bentancur, João Paulinho midfield pivot against Doncaster. I was absolutely right. And him, alongside Kevin Danso, who, shout out Kevin Danso, my man of the match against Doncaster. I think they played really well. Paulinho obviously capped it off with his second goal for Spurs, an overhead kick. I think it was actually Danso that got the flick on from the corner that caused it to be cleared off the line. Paulinho, it looked like the ball was falling in slow motion. He sort of just like tilted himself backwards and scored that overhead kick. But nonetheless, it was still a really good finish, a good way to go 1-0 up. And then, a little bit of magic from Wilson Odobert to score the second, or at least provide the second goal. Obviously, I think he played well, Wilson Odobert. I think he got down past his man a lot of times, and he obviously flashed a very dangerous ball across the face of the goal for our second, which was turned into our own net. Into their own net, to put us 2-0 up. So he was really positive. Kevin Dance was really positive. Another player I thought played really, really well was Archie Gray in midfield. He looks really sharp this season. He looks like he's gone up a level, and I actually feel kind of bad for him, the fact that he's not been able to have more minutes yet for Tottenham this season, because I think he's deserving of them. I think he was really bright against Brighton when he came on at the weekend, and I thought he played exceptionally well against Doncaster. Did everything with absolute ease. It was so easy for him. And yeah, I'm delighted that he was able to get 90 minutes under his belt and play the whole game and kind of prove to Thomas Frank that he deserves to be fighting for a place in the starting 11. So I think those three, for me, were the standouts. Kinski obviously did really well, but he wasn't tested too much apart from that one save in the second half. Matthias Tell, bless him. I feel really bad for him, and fans are turning on him, and I don't like it, right? I don't like it. We signed him permanently in the summer, so whether you like him or not, he's going to be here for a little while. And I don't think players saying that he needs to go out on loan, I don't think people saying he needs to go out on loan or whatever are going down the right track with that. His off-the-ball work is sensational. He runs and he tracks and he fights and he gets into brilliant positions. There were 3 chances he had against Doncaster where he kind of just completely missed the ball, or the ball passed him by. But he got himself into those positions. He just needs to fine-tune his finishing abilities to actually be able to put them in the back of the net. But I still don't think he's a striker. So I feel like he played out of position against Doncaster. I do feel like he is a left winger. So yeah, a little bit disappointed he wasn't able to get in the score sheet. I didn't think Xavi Simons was too effective. There was like a 10-minute period for me in the game where I thought he did really, really well. But other than that, he never really got into it. And like I said, I think one of the things we learned from this game is that we have squad depth. And that's what my preview for this was based on. And it's kind of what my review's based on as well, because we have a lot of academy talent. Obviously, Luca Williams-Barnett came on and made his debut 16 years old. By that, I'm 11 years older than him, which I turned to my mate in the stadium yesterday and said it. I said, I'm 11 years older than that guy. And he was like, yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, I thought he looked bright when he came on. But the fact that, he's been banging in goals for the academy and wasn't able to get a start in the Carabao Cup, when maybe if we had a little bit less squad depth, he would have been able to. But we changed most of our team. Obviously, there was no Romero in the squad. Van der Ven didn't play. Adogi only came on towards the end. Pedro Porro, captain, by the way. Really happy for him. Delighted to see him have the armband. I'm sure it's a very big personal sort of milestone for him. But yeah, then obviously midfield, Bentancur, because he hasn't been starting as many games played. Archie Gray, because he's not been starting. Odobert, Tell, Johnson, obviously our Europa League winner, played. He got his customary goal despite not playing very well either, I don't think. But yeah, I'm satisfied with the game. I do think that Doncaster kept the ball better than us, and one thing we learned is that we can't make mistakes like that against higher level opposition and be so sloppy on the ball. We never had any consistent passages of play. We never had any sort of real sustained periods of possession other than towards the end of the first half. In the second half, Doncaster, I think, had more of the ball and they were just looking more dangerous. And I know our quality means we were able to be clinical and kill the game off right at the end. But it was just all a little bit complacent for me. And it's delighted to see Thomas Frank turn to some of his academy players. I'm surprised that Dane Scarlett didn't get any minutes, and there are a few of the other academy boys that would have been nice to see get a run out. But I also think we have now learnt that Thomas Frank wants to do his very, very best in these cup competitions. I know the draw away to Newcastle in the next round is not ideal in the slightest, but I think we learned with Frank's team selection that he wants to win and go as far as he can in this competition, which I'm fully behind, I'm fully on board with. If we can get our hands on another piece of silverware, we're absolutely laughing, of course. So yeah, that was nice to see. Nice to see that we've got decent squad depth to be able to use. But yeah, the complacency has to go. We need to be a bit more clinical and ruthless in the final third. We learned that Kevin Danso's long throw is utterly ridiculous, by the way. How long is that? I was sat behind him in the second half for it, and I just watched it. Just launches it onto the keeper with ease, by the way, with relative ease. It's insane. But yeah, and just overall, in these games, on these nights, we know that now that Thomas Frank is just going to do what he needs to do to get the wins. And we did exactly that. On paper, it looks great. It was a 3-0 win. We're into the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. On the pitch, and for everyone who watched it, maybe a little bit concerning about Wolves, but you could about the game, and the way we played, but you can say that we conserved energy ahead of the Wolves games at the weekend. We were able to rest key players, and that's probably more important than anything at the moment. So I think we can be happy, we can walk away satisfied, and we can just see where this next round is going to take us, because it's going to be a really, really difficult trip to Newcastle. But you never know, we're not incapable of winning that game. So fingers crossed we can continue on and get further in the competition and try and go all the way, because I'd love us to do that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this review video. If you've enjoyed, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of your support massively. But for now, that's it from me. Enjoy the rest of your weeks. Enjoy your weekends. I'll be back with a preview very, very soon. As always, come on, you Spurs.